there's a lack of population. Why have people been moving out?
You know, that's a problem in any center city. It is not unique to San Antonio, and it is certainly not unique to the East Side. We're starting to see population donuts, where you have a growing population in the surrounding outlying areas, but the center core of the city is starting to empty out. And that's because the homes are older, you know, so as people's children grew up, there was not necessarily a house in the neighborhood for them to buy. So they moved out into newer neighborhoods. But now those original owners are getting older, up in years, and those homes are being rented out, and so that changes the flavor of a neighborhood.
I'm probably what you call a grandparent school, where a lot of my students actually live with a parent who lives with a parent. So when you think about parks and all of those other things that a younger community that has maybe first-time home buyers that are looking for, again, this being a grandparent community, it hasn't been addressed in a number of years.
Parks. We have a lot of parks here. We have the Lincoln Park, which was the first black park. Dawson Park was for Hispanics. The park over on Nolan Street was for whites. During those days, no one could venture into those parks unless you were that particular race.
When I was little, all of that wasn't there. It was picnic tables in certain areas, but they have improved the park a lot, and it looks good. And I'm hoping for all the other parks that are in our area to get a facelift like this one. It used to be a 5 and dime called TGNY that was on East Houston Street. And around the end of March, the beginning of May, you can go there and buy all kinds of kites. And me and my 2 older kids used to get at the foot of the hill there and fly kites. I remember one time I let a kite go so high, I'm like, I just cut it and let it go. But a lot of kids used to sit and just fly kites, and that's one thing that you don't see that much anymore.
Sí, necesitamos como más parques aquí a los alrededores, más tiendas, porque todo está lejos para nosotros.
Improve housing, improve the quality of education, more parks, more diverse services. What we mean by services is shopping centers, economics, medical, a library in the community center, bike trails, better transit, and street lights, more street lights.
When I look at where the medical center is, it's on the west side. When I look at where a lot of the big businesses are, Valero, Tesoro, USAA, when I look at where the big campuses are, it's very centralized in a kind of northwesterly corridor. So if you drive this area, you don't see many doctors' offices and dentists. You know, it's not the same diversity of, you know, even there's no Walmart near here. I mean, just even simple things where you'd go to buy, you know, the HEB is a small one. It's not large. It doesn't have the same produce. It's a different, and it's the same way on the south side too.
You know that's a small HEB, but that HEB has the smallest per capita sales, I think, of almost any store in the city.
Why is that?
We just don't have the households to support it, number one. And number two, I think part of it has to do with, too, that HEB hasn't necessarily kept that store the most modern store. I am excited about the new renovations that they're doing in that store, and I honestly hope that it will draw some customers that HEB had lost back into that store. You know, I really do. I hope that because I know people who live in Dignity Hills and in Denver Heights who will drive all the way over to Lincoln Heights to shop because they don't want to go in that HEB.
Construction on the east side is very limited. A lot of the houses have not been taken care of and have started to become neglected. If you get an opportunity to drive over off of Hackberry, if you go over in the John J. Pershing area, they have some big, beautiful houses that in their heyday were probably the dominion of their time.
The mothers and fathers and grandparents have passed away, and the kids don't care. They don't fix them up. They just let them run down. And this was a nice neighborhood. And the homes along this area, I had a friend that lived in a house right here that back faces the railroad track. From all the movement of the train had caused the foundation in her house to shift to where her den had separated from the rest of the house.
What happened to the house? Did anybody fix it?
They fixed it, but over the years, it happened again.
Yeah.
We have found, in fact, Tuesday we're having a parent meeting to address the lead issue in the homes. We have a very high level of lead among our children, and it's in the houses. There are a lot of rentals in this area, and the landlords don't even live here. So many of the homes are in real disrepair. Sometimes the families, in an effort to make their life better for their children, inadvertently and unknowingly release the lead because they start remodeling without checking to see if the house has lead. And the minute you break a wall, lead dust is released. Some of the lead dust is in the soil. It is everywhere.
The metal from the train can spark off flakes.
Of lead?
Lead. Because when they hit their brakes, you ought to hear the train when they come.
These babies are coming into Head Start, and for the first time probably they're looking at them holistically, and they're being found to have significantly disproportionately high levels of lead, so much so that neurological impairment is already occurring in 3-year-olds. Okay?
And we are seeing a large number, a higher than usual number of children with speech delays or no speech at all, autism tendencies, but they're not autistic. Very, very high level of activity.
You know, I don't know that Promise will be able to address the fact that there is lead-based paint in the houses, but I do think that Promise can bring that up to the front, and then other people who are part of the consortium, perhaps some of our advocates at the city, can start to do something and look at developing, because I know the city has a lead abatement program for residences. So maybe we just need to do a little bit more outreach into the community to make sure that people know that that's available.
What would you like to see get better?
Like knock down these old houses and rebuild them.
The Wheatley Courts. You'd like them knocked down?
No, we like to keep the Wheatley Courts and knock down these old houses and stuff.
My mom said the Wheatley Courts, as she can remember, I think in the 50, 54, somewhere around in there. They've been here. When I was born, my mom, keep straight, my mom and my father lived in the Wheatley Courts. So my mom said back in the days, it was so nice, it was like apartment complex. They wasn't looked at as the courts.
I actually think it's wonderful that someone is paying attention to the needs of Wheatley. I'm sure this building has been here for a long time. The neighborhood is even longer, and there could be some changes made, and the grant will provide that.
Most people think it's just for Wheatley Courts, and they think that they're just gonna tear it down and kick them out and all this stuff, and they ask questions like, you know, we get to pick where we move. I try to tell them that's not basically what it is. It's not just Wheatley Courts, and sometimes I carry a map in my back pocket and just try to show them the area. But the question remains, still, we know what we're gonna do, especially like the lady that lives on the corner. She's been here almost 30 years. She don't want to move. But then a lot of people do. I think more people want to move than more people want to stay. And it's because of some problems, that they have with the units that they're living in.
Infestation in what way, though?
There are ants. There are roaches. I haven't heard anything about rodents. But there is a problem in that area. Safety is an issue also.
Yeah.
We want it safe for our kids out here to play, and just have it overall where we'd be more united, safe, and can beautify Wheatley Courts and the surrounding neighborhood.